we saw Danny back. What's kind of the plan for him moving forward?
Live BP tomorrow, hopefully, which the weather's actually not starting to look great tomorrow, but live BP tomorrow, and then just kind of pending results of that. He's probably ready for start making appearances in games.
STEELE?
Yeah, STEELE's just here for the homestand, and he's like I said, he's just starting to touch the mound. So we're making progress. Everything's going well. Yeah.
When teams get to this time of year, Craig, and they look at players, they're not just baseball cards, they're people. How much does the chemistry element of bringing in someone for a 2-month run apply to teams as far as looking beyond their talent?
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, if you're in this profession, one of the things you have to deal with is, as a player, is that you can, whether it's on the Cubs or on anybody else, is you can get kind of a tap on the shoulder and say, hey, you now work in a different city. and I'm making a joke of it, but that's if you really contextualize that to your life, you know what I mean? That's meaningful. So it's something I've always you take seriously. It's not a small thing, and it's I think you understand if you can put yourself in an athlete's shoes a little bit and understand when things get written that, hey, maybe you're gonna move and you're gonna work in a different city tomorrow. You can see how that affects people. And so I think, I think it's part of their jobs. It's part of their lives. They do a good job of understanding it. But you also take it seriously.
The idea that everyone has 2 kids and
yeah.
families.
Yeah.
Never seem to be consideration on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, and then the other part of the question I think is I think you always do take into fact. I mean, part of your decisions about does the chemistry of a clubhouse? Yeah, you have to think about that. Absolutely, that's absolutely part of conversations.
With all these guys, these relievers work with Palencia and STEELE and kind of the unknown there. How much do you think that affects, I guess, what Jed and the front office are trying to do? Because it is kind of this is the time where you're trying to add guys as well.
Well, I think those are different. Those are 2 very different questions, players. I think in terms of where we're at. So I mean, I think there's obviously, we've already said there's questions on Justin still because it's been such a long time. Daniel's coming back. He's on his way back. He's throwing alive, which means you're healthy, essentially. You just got to build up some volume. So, we're going to get Daniel back. I'm confident in that. But, injuries are going to happen throughout the rest of the year. We had one today. So injuries are going to continue to happen, and as an organization, you want to be just best prepared for that.
Is it important to continue to add strikeouts to the bullpen, because it seems like that's probably as currently constructed? I know Palencia could add that, Harvey could add that, Ben Brown could add that, but is that something you'd like more of in your bullpen?
Patrick, do you want me to give him the line?
Outs.
Yeah, outs.
Outs.
Yeah, I mean, everybody the strikeouts are great. I mean, I think everybody loves I like strikeouts. The analysts love strikeouts. Jed loves strikeouts. The pitchers love strikeouts. The hitters don't. So we all obviously that's what you want. Obviously, every pitcher, I think they want to get them out. If you ask them how do they want to get them out, they want to strike them out. Yeah, but it's also harder to do. Yeah.
Getting back to, I guess, what you were saying right before that was it's important to always add to the bullpen at the deadline. When you're competing, like depth there feels.
Yeah, and it's more of like a just the way the kind of the rules work now. Like this is the reason why the deadline is just maybe a little different than 5 years ago. Is you can't add any more players, so this is your organization, and I think, from Jed's perspective, like that's the biggest deal. Is like this is your team for the next hopefully 2+ months, right? In a previous iteration of the rules, is like there was an August 31st date that like extended this, that I think changed things quite a bit.
Did you like the old way or do you like the new rules? Just personally.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's just the rules are the rules. Yeah.
Injury come up with this last time, or in the wake of this last time?
Yeah, I think Gavin's been kind of like dealing with some things. I think maybe like post All-Star break, and yesterday, we talked after the first St. Louis outing. He had 2 days off, and then he threw 10 pitches, and then there's some talk about him going back out there, and he just didn't feel great at that point. So it's a pretty clear sign that we need to press pause for a little bit. I don't think we have a serious injury here. I think he needs some rest, and I think he should be fine. So I think if not the minimum, I think we're pretty close to it.
With Palencia, the season hasn't gone how we anticipated, but he has that blueprint in his mind of last year, that really impacting through the playoffs. How much do you think that kind of just helped him, or help your message to him as he's navigating this?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's in good shape for sure in terms of that. We got plenty of runway in the season left, I think. He's frankly hasn't pitched much this year. So I think if anything, I wish he would have pitched a little more. He just hasn't pitched that much. But we'll have to get him there, and we have some time to do that.
Once he's good to go, he can start pitching here. You're not thinking of a rehab assignment? Right?
No, there'll be a rehab assignment.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, Antoine's always, he's a talented arm that really just throwing strikes has always been the key for Antoine, and sometimes some guys it just takes a while for that to click. It's gotten better in Iowa since we've acquired him from the Dodgers. It's improved, and so it's improved to the point where he's made himself a candidate kind of the last month, I'd say, for us. His name has been discussed and possibility of bringing him here, and so happy for a kid that's had a pretty good journey in the minor leagues. Chicago kid. Happy to be able to make his debut here.
How much in your mind has it changed to use the bullpen to win a game? The art of bullpen usage, like you have with Webb this year, as opposed to when you had a lockdown closer like Hader or San Diego has Miller, it kind of changes the equation. How has it changed for you to look at bullpens and usage?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what I try to always, no bullpen is the same, and so you can't ever like say, well, this is how I did it, and so this is how I have to do it again. Like, I think you have to be willing to change every year, and even as your personnel changes, just refresh how you're thinking about how to get 27 outs. So it's constantly changing. And if you ever get stuck in like, oh, we have to do it this one way, I think that's where you get yourself in trouble, and you get your team in trouble. So, and I think I said this on this team. Jacob has really been the kind of the center of this, and his ability to and his pitching at first of all is pitching at a really high level, and it's allowed us to, I think, help everybody else and put them in good spots. Shaw's in Arizona. He's swinging. He'll swing today. hopefully actually hit today. So we made that distinction. So making progress.
Hitting for the first time today, that would be.
He may have hit yesterday. Yeah.
Cage work or?
Yeah. I mean, they're swinging, which is not involving a baseball. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. And hitting involves a baseball, which is helpful.